आदरणीय श्री महेश जेठमलानी जी, आदरणीय श्री अनिर्बन गांगुली जी, dignitaries of the dais, आदरणीय श्री सत्यरंजन स्वयं जी, the organizer, the entire organizing team, आदरणीय श्री विक्रमजीत बैनर्जी जी, and other respective dignitaries and distinguished speakers for today's session. First of all, I would request all of you to give a huge round of applause to the young organizers for this amazing event. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam once said that for a young citizens of India, I realize that having a small aim or ambition is a crime. Therefore, as a young nation, for all of us together, having a minimum aspiration to work towards contributing for making India a superpower should be the very basic ambition. So we should remind these words of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam to start our discussion today. It is indeed a great honor for me to be present here amongst all of you as a representative of the Y20 when India is actually presiding the G20 summit. Friends, since last few decades, we have seen that how the term youth or how the youth as an age group is getting prominence across all the international forums. And when it comes to the G20, I must tell you that with every G20 summit, the Y20 is emerging as one of the strongest voices of the youth across the world. The statistics tells us that more than half of the world's population comes under the age band of youngsters or youth. And in this scenario, India being the youngest nation with 60 crore plus of its population coming under the youth band is making a mark before the world, and we have got the G20 presidency this time. It means that we as the young nation encompass immense potential and energy to actually change the discourses, disrupt the conventional norms, and change the world for a better place to live. As a Y20 track chair, I am fortunate to deliberate the sessions for India's G20 presidency for the shared future youth in democracy and governance track at the G20. Friends, we all must celebrate that we are not only world's largest or world's youngest democracy, but also we are one of the world's most successful democracies, and we have proved this in the last 75 years that how thriving as a democracy we all are. And that is why when we go and look back to our ancient systems, we find that the democratic ideals were present during that time also. This is why we are calling ourselves as the mother of democracy. And believe me, my friends, no nation at the G20 summit has objected to this particular norm of India calling itself as mother of democracy. So a huge round of applause for our ancestors who made this possible. As we are calling ourselves as the mother of democracy, it is the vision and mandate of our Honorable Prime Minister that this should be reflected in our every conduct, in our every action, and in our spirit. That is why it is the twofold mandate of the Y20 from the Honorable Prime Minister only, that first, deliberate with the G20 member nations on the pressing issues for the global youth. Secondly, reach out to the common youth across the nation, go seek their ideas and inputs on these pressing issues, and then represent India before the global forum. And that is why Y20 is going into every strata of the society. Friends, I am eagerly waiting to listen to the ideas of our seniors on the very two relevant topics for the panel discussions today. I would very briefly like to tell you about what we are doing in this particular track of shared future, youth in democracy and governance. As Anirbanji told, we are focusing on the issues which were never discussed earlier by any G20 presidency. That is youth's role in legislature and politics, youth's role in the governance and policy, youth role in community governance, and very importantly, the role of youth and the institutionalization of youth leadership for preparing the youth to take the leadership positions in the future. When we talk about youth in governance and policy, it certainly includes the effective role of youth in the criminal justice or the legal justice system across the world. This topic is not a very widely discussed topic, but this time in the Y20 summit, we are discussing the role of youth in the justice system as well. As we are discussing the theme of this particular event, that is lawyers and societal transformation, youth in policy making and governance. So when we talk about governance, who can be a better fraternity than the lawyers to reach out and ask for their contribution? Lawyers are naturally social engineers. History is evident that when a lawyer takes interest in governance affairs, we get a Mahatma Gandhi, B.R. Ambedkar, to Arun Jaitley, to Sardar Patel, to Sushma Swaraj, to Ram Jethmalani, to one of the very distinguished guests sitting here, Shri Mahesh Jethmalani ji as well, when it comes to about the role of lawyers. We must thank Mahesh ji that he is playing the role, he's serving the two very important pillars of democracy as of now. He's at the courtrooms and as well as at the parliament. He's guiding the nation on the very important constitutional issues. Similarly, Shri Bhupender Yadav ji, who also happens to be a lawyer who was here with us, is spearheading the unprecedented labor reforms in India. From my experiences of the very recently concluded Y20 pre-summit at Leh, Ladakh, wherein the delegates of approximately 20 plus nations participated, which included the G20 member nations and the invited nations, I can vouch for one thing, that India this time is actually bringing the Vasudev Kutumbakam into action. And the world is seeing, we are giving a hope to the world that a new world order can also be there, which is free from the conventional conflicts of war and trade. Once again, I am thankful to the organizers here for having us to interact with you, and also to all the learned participants. I must assure you one thing from the Y20 side, that this is not just an event, but your contribution to India's historic G20 presidency. Thank you. Thanks once again. Bharat Mata ki Jai.